Hello, did you ever have a flat tire that you couldn't change because you didn't know how? Probably not, because you're probably not a fucking moron. So anyways, if you have a car, like a car that you bought from like a private dealer or like a dealership or like a lot or something, maybe an impound lot, I don't know where people get cars these days, probably all sorts of crazy ass places, I don't know, because I'm not in touch with this modern world. This modern world is part of a... that was the dumbest thing I ever fucking did, so thank you for watching me do something fucking stupid. Anyways... ugh. I'm really bad to this job, that's fine, okay, whatever. If you have a private dealer car, you want to make sure you get into your trunk and check underneath the floorboard, and you'll find out whether or not you have like a something called a donut is what you should have in there, which basically it looks like a tire, but it's smaller and it's more rubber than man. And at that point you should... what a dick. Okay. It's more rubber than man, and at that point you should be able to realize, of course, that it's not something you should drive around on because it's not structurally stable. But what the therefore is so that you can drive to like a garage or something, somewhere that you can get the tire changed, fixed, replaced, whatever. Now, what happened to me one time is actually I was driving to an old apartment that I was moving out of in order to retrieve some things that I had not yet picked up, and what happened was I drove over a bolt. And it lodged itself into my tire, and my tire deflated. The whole thing deflated in like 15 minutes. Now, if you know a thing or two about tires, you'll know that that's really goddamn fast for a tire to deflate for something as minor as like a bolt. If a tire is slashed, of course, it will deflate a lot faster. That's just the way that things work. But if it's like a minor, if it's like a decently minor thing, like a bolt getting lodged in your tire, and it deflates that fast, then that is a very serious issue, and that is something that you need to either check up on your tire manufacturer on, like see when those tires were maybe made, so that you can get a better idea for why they are so dysfunctional. Because actually, what tends to happen is now for my car, they don't actually make my car anymore, the type of car that it is and the type of tires that it has. So we have to get them special ordered whenever we need new ones, which is thankfully only a couple times not a year, a couple times every couple of years. And when they come in, I assume that they're like new, that they haven't been used before, but at the same time, like I said, they don't manufacture those tires anymore for like, you know, mass purposes, I guess you could say. And because of that, I can only feel like these tires have been sitting in a warehouse somewhere for years, eons, decades, just waiting for some lonely sap like me to put them on their car so that they can, you know, wear down to the nub and then have to wind up having that poor sap buy new tires again after only a couple of months of owning. Now, I do have warranty on my tires, so don't worry about my tire situation. Please, stop worrying about my tires. I beg of you. I do have insurance on them, and if I do damage them in any way, they will get replaced for free, so please, just, you know, keep that out of mind. Don't think that for a second that I'm irresponsible in that regard. I would never be so irresponsible as to let the car company, the garage that I go to, take full advantage of me like I was some sort of chump, you know? I'm not a chump. I know full well what's going on in this world, and I can adapt accordingly. Also, you know, so I think, but who's really to say? It's just up to me to make my best judgment call, and if I can't make my best judgment call on something like a, you know, a tire, then maybe my judgment is what should be in question. So thank you for not picking on me, not making fun of me, not calling me names, not getting a pleasure from my pain, because I am very self-conscious about that sort of thing. And I would thank you very much. You know, I wouldn't do that sort of thing to you, so I can only assume that you would be so kind as not to do that sort of thing to me. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you for listening to my stupid-ass tire story. I will tell you another story here in a second. Right as soon as I figure out what needs to happen next. Oh, I know. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'll go and do the thing. So there are tropical windstorms in Japan called monsoons, you know, and monsoons are not quite like hurricanes. They got winds as strong as hurricanes somehow, but they're not like hurricanes in the regard that they form a giant like circle of clouds over the sky that you can see from space and be like, oh, well, there's a monsoon coming on Japan. We'd better alert them so that they can hide all their animes and their Fukushima reactors. And if they don't do that, then they're just going to get annihilated like they did last time that there was some sort of earthquake because they didn't, you know, they didn't prepare for that. What kind of city builds a nuclear power plant on a fault line, a tectonic fault line? What kind of nuclear power plant country does that? I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good idea in my opinion. Not that, you know, I'm the final authority on what is and is not a good idea, because honestly I've never built a nuclear power plant before, and I don't know much about them other than the fact that they have something called cores, which I think are just like rods of uranium or boxes of uranium that they use to generate power when they split atoms and collect all the fusion and whatever else it takes to make that happen. Now, if I'm wrong, you know, I don't really care, because nuclear power is not something I've always been super interested in. Nuclear power is something that's always frankly kind of scared me because of the prospects involved, you know, like in the mid-40s, they had some incidences over in Japan when they refused to drop out of World War II that America engaged them in such a way that kind of destroyed their ecosystem, their economy, the world. And the same thing happened later in a town called Pripyat in the Ukraine. No, I will not save my game. Thank you, Fairy, though. In the Ukraine, and it rendered the entire place uninhabitable. And I've heard tell that the Fukushima incident is actually much more serious than. No, oh, you motherfucker. Okay, well, that was my mistake. I made that mistake, so thank you for bearing with me on this mistake. That the Fukushima reactor was actually much more severe than the Chernobyl disaster. But whether or not that's true, I can't really say. I didn't look into it. I don't have a Geiger counter, and I never went to either place, so I could never get an accurate radioactive measuring. Not that I really wanted one. It was never really important to me in the first place. Oh, Tuco, like that Mexican guy from Breaking Bad. That was a good show. Go watch it. It was a good show starring Aaron Paul and Jesse Eisenberg. I made that up. That's not true. It was Bryan Cranston, not Jesse Eisenberg. Let's go ahead and go to Beast Makers. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go to. Thank you, Tuco, so much for affording me this opportunity to go into a hot air balloon. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, Fukushima, Japan. You know, I'd like to go to Japan someday. I think it'd be really cool to get a cultural perspective on how different they are over there. They got all sorts of things that we don't have over here, like anime and Dance Dance Revolution, and they've got Pocky and all sorts of crazy candies like kimchi, which isn't a candy more so than it is like pickled spinach. But you know, pickled spinach, that's still good. I like things that are pickled. I like pickled. Well, cucumbers, which are just, you know, pickles. And I like pickled peppers and Peter Piper, Pick the Patch pickled peppers, and all sorts of things like that. All sorts of tongue twisters. They have it over in Japan. They don't have it in the US. That's what I like about Japan. It's like the land of tongue twisters, and the language is even set up in a way that makes it hard to learn for anybody who's not from there. Only so that they don't have to be dealing with foreigners all the time and playing mind games with the foreigners. So I think it's actually a very smart thing on their part to do that, because they at that point they don't, first of all, they don't let just anybody come into the country. They have to have like a legitimate reason, or they have to have a lot of money or something like that. And certainly nobody can just move there unless they're like teaching the language, or, you know, doing something else so important to the country that they need to have those people there. But generally that's not the case. Generally that's not how it goes in Japan. And I only know that because I know like 2 people who have been to Japan, and they said it wasn't the like the colorful, happy anime world that I was expecting it would be. And I'm like, I knew that it wouldn't be, because anime is not real. Anime is like, it's just something that people make in a studio. And I'm not saying that anime is bad, but I'm just saying that, of course, anime is not true to real life, just in the same way that Family Guy is not an accurate representation of what happens here in America, aside from the fact that everybody in that show is fat. And I hope you laugh at that, because that is a fat American joke. That is a joke that nobody has made before. Nobody's ever talked about how fat Americans are, except for me just now. So thank you for appreciating my observational humor. I am a stand-up comedian by day, and I'm a rogue guy. I don't know what I'm trying to say something that I don't even understand myself. So please just know that I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. I sound like a crazy person half the time, and there's nothing wrong with being, you know, a little bit crazy every now and then. That's what CeeLo Green always told me. CeeLo Green, you know, he's always been kind of an inspiration for me. He's always been like my rock. He's always been the one who inspired me to create and, you know, be that person who doesn't let anybody else tell them what to do, but instead becomes a person who tells others what to do. So, thank you, CeeLo Green. I really appreciate what you're doing for me. I will stay here. Thank you, Mr. Balloonist. Okay. So go ahead and, you might not have heard of him, so if you haven't heard of him, go check out CeeLo Green. You can find him on YouTube and probably like MySpace, musicstreaming.com/lastfm or whatever, and you'll find him. Don't, you know, just trust me, you'll find everything that you need to find about this man. He's very talented and smart and gifted, and he also had a band called Gnarls Barkley, or maybe that was just like his stage name in the 90s or something. I don't know exactly, but actually the song Crazy was by Gnarls Barkley, which might have been his stage name at the time, but the song actually, the song Forget You was by CeeLo specifically, and it was actually called something different on the radio than it was called on the album. So if you don't know what the song was called, it was called Forget You, but also look up CeeLo Green and you'll find out that it was called something different. You'll be like, wow, that song had a different name and different general tone in the past than it does now. So I don't like the racier version. I like the more PC version, and that's what I'm going to choose to listen to. So thank you for watching. I've been SparkleDart. Goodbye.